Patrik, you just announced your retirement from the sport at the age of 32. Making that statement, was that sort of a day of sadness or more relieved?
I mean, first of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
mean, for everyone, I'm sure it's no matter if you're 42 or 32 or 22. I think for everyone, it's incredibly hard. And so was it for me that to choose to stop the sport that I've been doing for 10 or 15 years, and choose to, okay, let's go for a new and different career. Of course, it's, I mean, both scary and hard, and I think it's divided as well. I'm very relieved to, in a way, take some time off and hang out with the kids instead of having this big cloud over my head to, okay, I need to perform, I need to get better. And at the same time, the goal I've been working for over the last 10 years is gone. So it's very strange. It's really hard at one second and a big relief at this other moment. So not the easiest, of course, but look forward to a new chapter.
For people who are watching this on YouTube, as you might be able to see, you're not in Denmark right now. You're actually in a cabin in Sweden. So that's why the roaming or the connection is a little bit shaky. But I hope you'll manage.
Thanks. Yeah, it's true. And that's actually one of the kind of feelings I had as well when I, a week back or 2 weeks back, thought, okay, let's stop with triathlon. And then the day after, like, okay, let's give it another try. And at the same time, I thought, okay, let's go to Sweden to our summer house on the West Coast. And I could just feel once again, okay, if I'm choosing to continue with triathlon, I have to cancel that trip. And only that one, it was one small stone, one small drop to, okay, it's enough is enough. I can't do it anymore. So at the moment, I'm in Sweden, like I said, and taking some time off with the kids.
It's been 3 years almost since your last big results, and that was also a major one. Your win at Ironman Frankfurt in 2021. That is. So when did you realize that it's harder for me than expected to get back to that level, to make it? Because I know you had COVID and stuff. You had a major break before you made that result. So you actually shown once that you were able to claw yourself back to the highest level. So when did you realize that this was just not possible for you to do anymore? You couldn't do it.
I mean, I think it's more of a mental aspect in it than only fitness. I can definitely see that. I mean, the sport has developed. It's going much quicker now than it did 10 years back or even 5 years back. I mean, racing with Patrik Lange and Jan Frodeno in Frankfurt, for example, in 2019, I think, or 18. Yeah. I finished second, and I can't see even an athlete like Jan. I just have so big... I really can't see how an athlete like him would be competitive today. It's gone so quick, both in the swim, bike, and run. But I could still feel, I still hoped, okay, the fitness is good. In a way, I'm better at training today than I've ever been. Which makes the decision to stop a bit harder as well. But I could also feel the mental aspect in it, especially at races. It became harder and harder to really kind of pull out this eager, the will, the gladiator to really push over my limit.
You lost your killer instincts. Maybe that also, when you have kids and you have to ask yourself if the sacrifice you make every day is really worth it.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's, I don't know, even myself, a couple of years back, I thought, okay, having kids is a great motivation. And I think it is. But I think it's a good motivation for me, at least during training and during the everyday life to okay, let's go out for the swim. Let's go out for the bike. Let's go out and run. to make this all worth it for my kids. But then during a race, it's either, if you want to admit it or not, at least for me, it's 100% about myself and my ego. And it's, I mean, might sound wrong to say, but it's all I care about during a race is, okay, I just want to win. I want to win for my kids. Like, no, it's for myself. I want to win for myself. And it's not, and of course I would like to say that, okay, I want to win. I want to be a world champion for my kids. And it is a good motivation. But during the race, I think for most athletes, it's for myself and my own ego.
Patrik, sorry not to cut you off, but it's, of course, we're going to talk about some of your highlights in your amazing career, but I have to talk about something that is a little bit maybe awkward or uncomfortable to talk about. But I recall 7 or 8 years back when you were supposed to race on Danish soil, you had a fallout with your former coach. We're not going to mention names, but you also made a statement afterwards. And I think people who didn't know you personally realized that besides being one of the biggest Ironman talents on the circuit at that point, there was also something going on beneath the surface. There has been some gaps between results. There has been a lot of DNFs. Sometimes you simply struggled mentally to find that mojo, or how to say it, to deliver on the highest level.
100%. And I think that's also one of the things that's kind of showing up now, that either I'm able to kind of pull myself together and deliver, to find that gladiator, to find that killer instinct, and okay, let's push everything I've got, and this is fun. This is what I want to do. I want to fight. I want to win. But also, like you said, I'm probably closer to 8 or 9 or 10 years back. I stopped with my coach, and I'm not sure if I was too immature to stop it in a good way, but anyway, we stopped. He kind of showed up during race morning just next to my bike. And we had a less positive talk. And once again, like discussed, I couldn't grab myself together after it. Ended up cramping in transition. I did the swim. It was a okay swim, but then running up from the swim, I just cramped up in all of my body. Everything from the shoulders to the quads to the glutes to the everything. And that exactly same thing has happened other times as well when I haven't been in a good mental state. I've been in Dubai, for example, once. I didn't go there in a very good mental state. And I just remember during training as well, I was just swam in the hotel pool for 5 minutes, ended up cramping in the shoulders, in the quads and everything. Like nutrition was fine, the body was fine, but the head wasn't in a good space. Then also during the race, I swam, not for fun, 50 meters. Ended up, I think we swam out of a harbor, so I went up on a boat and then up on shore. But the whole body was cramping. Just amazing, like I can't describe it. Everything was cramping from the shoulders to the arms to the legs. And this exact same thing has happened other times as well. The only difference being the mental state.
Really? Okay, so I'm not an expert, of course, on psychology, but I have been going through a divorce myself, and one of the things that I found out is that there are basically two kinds of people. There are those who are a bit chaotic, you can say, and those who have a natural ability to have control. And for a person who is a bit chaotic, it's really, really relaxing and nice to be around people who have this control, because you can't really maintain it naturally. So is that something that you have experienced as well? I know you have a a wife who's been really supportive of you. That if you're not around a firm coach or your wife or a person who has this ability to have control, that things like slip out of your fingers like sand, so to speak. Is that the case maybe?
I mean, like you said, it makes sense. Also at races, I race some of the best athletes in the world, and I can see some of them are able to just 100% focus on like, okay, this one goal, it's one clear goal, and here we go. And I am very sensitive, but there's a lot of things going on in my head, and it's, like I said, hard to kind of maintain focus. So I can definitely imagine if things are too, let's say, busy, it's just hard to find the right motivation or the right mindset to actually perform at the race. 100%. And of course, I mean, we have 2 kids. Of course, a lot happens once you have kids. What you thought was control is now very different than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think before this develops into a completely different podcast about psychology, I think we should start talking about sports a little bit, because you came from a track and field background, but I can't quite remember if it was on a youth national level or what kind of level you actually competed on. Back
youth,
then?
I think youth national.
Yeah.
I think I was, probably decent. But would never be able to compete with the Ingebrigtsen brothers or at the European Championships or anything like that. So stopped kind of quick.
But you also swam a little bit. But was that before the track and field?
Yeah, before.
Okay,
also at a pretty decent level, not high or anything, but maybe 110 on 100 meters. So. Not really quick.
Exactly. But this is also, it's going to be, of course, about you, but there's going to be some lessons learned about history, because back then you had your Ironman debut in 2013, so approximately 11 years ago. It was not at all normal that a guy came from outside the National Federation. And also at that age, today we have 22, 23 years olds competing all over, but it was super rare back then. That was only you, basically.
No, it's true. And I remember the talk with my coach back then, that, I couldn't keep up in short distance. Half Ironman was, started to perform, but we could definitely see, it's long distance that's going to be something positive.
Yeah.
So we chose kind of quick to, let's focus on the longer distance and let's see what happens. Like I said, I was not the first one, but one of the first to be at start of the 20s and focusing on longer distances. And maybe that's just something catching up now. Maybe I've been doing long distance for 10, 15 years, and that's kind of what my head can handle. But it's true, like I said, I think my Ironman debut was in Barcelona, during Challenge Barcelona back then.
Yeah. One of your first win actually came already the year after in Malaysia, and the fun thing about that, if you go into the results, is that it was actually another Swede who were based in Asia back then, Patrik Nilsson, and you raced him, and I think you, of course, he was specialized racing in these hot and humid conditions, but you, at the age of 23, managed to beat him with 17 minutes, and then third place with about half an hour. Of course, this is extreme conditions, but this, if you look at it, you can really tell that the talent were there, obviously.
No, it's true. I remember racing with Fredrik, and I think the conditions probably a bit worse than Kona. I think Jürgen Sack was there as well, and obviously he has a lot of experience. But he said it like, "Man, this is worse than Kona. This is so bad. This is so hot and humid, and the sun was just outgazing." And I think 2 months later, I think I was second in Ironman Western Australia.
Exactly.
And I think and probably that's one of the things I'm missing now. Back then I was racing for fun. It was all fun. It was all game and like just having a good time with the coach and his athletes. And no back, I don't know what to call, no backpack on your back no thoughts in back of your head that you need to handle as well. It was just about fun and having a good time racing.
But still, you had a couple of races. I think you also raced in Sweden, 8th position, and of course I think you also your first race in Barcelona was 8th as well. Going from that to first place, that must have made quite an impact. You must have thought, okay, I can make a real living out of this.
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, it's once again, it was all about fun. Money never really mattered. Obviously, the goal was once again, the goal was to win Kona. The goal was to race Kona, not about making money. I think I started with triathlon after high school. I kind of did it for a year and like, okay, let's do it for fun, see what happens. It went okay. I did it for another year. It went better, and I continued. And that's somewhere where I won Malaysia and second in Western Australia. But it was all for fun. Yeah. I went to Mallorca to train with a coach at his training camp, and like, okay, it's still for fun. Went to Challenge Fuerteventura just for fun, to have a good time. I think I finished third. Flew back. Did 70.3 Mallorca, was second. Like it's still all fun and game. And I think that's what really drove me. Like, okay, I just want to win Kona. I want to, race with a black suit. We called it back then. Just race with a black suit and no sponsors, win Kona, and then, do something else, go back to studies.
If you look at it back then with your eyes now, would you say that you trained professionally? Or would you say that you lacked a lot of knowledge, or was it more of the hang loose attitude, just doing whatever you felt like? What was the training like?
I mean, we had of course a very strict schedule, but definitely I think my own attitude was more hang loose.
You also had the hair for it back then, the
surfer. Now I'm getting older. No, but like I think the training was like, okay, you do the work and like full focus on that. But definitely my own attitude in my head was, okay, it's just game and fun and see what happens. If it was professional, what's professional today is a very different thing compared to what we did 10 years back.
Exactly.
Now, if you're not having a lactate meter, you're, I don't know. Why even compete? Kind of thing.
You're not even an amateur.
No.
The next year you won in Sweden, and of course, being a Swede yourself, that's important to win on home turf. But it's actually 2016, at the age of 25, that I want to talk a little bit about, because your win in Copenhagen was absolutely insane. With the time that you managed, I think it was just below 750, 749, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and people have to remember that nobody at that point had gone below sub 8 at that point. And I think Jan Frodeno just 1 month earlier lowered the world record in Roth, and that was a little bit of an artificial record people talked about. So before that, I think Andreas Rehlert had the record in like 7:41. So if you look at those two times, you're actually within 8 minutes of what had previously been the fastest time in the world. Could you quite believe it when you saw the time that you finished in? And also, not to forget, you won by, was it 12 or 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still game and fun. That's still 100% game and fun. Like I didn't really care about the time, and like it was a good time. We had a fun time racing, and that's it. Remember, we went home, we bought some sushi, and like had a good time in the apartment with some friends. I never really thought I paid any attention to the time or whatever. But no, I mean, looking back at it now, and I think that's a bit what makes me sad today, and honestly, it makes me sad, I don't know, every second day, that I really think I did have talent to perform at a higher stage than I did.
Absolutely.
So it kind of feels like not waste of talent. It's I remember this Spider-Man, like with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing, that okay, with great talent comes great responsibility, and it doesn't feel like I wasted it, but I never really lived up to what I could do. And then of course that's a talent in itself to actually perform what you can, and it's not for everyone.
So what I understand from what you're saying here is that the more carefree, the more hang loose attitude, the better you actually performed.
I think so, yeah. Of course, my psychologist, I'm paying overtime to today, but I think we all can agree that, okay, something like anger, something like frustration, it's good for a very short moment, but it also runs you tired.
Yeah.
So in a race like take Frankfurt in 2021, I think I managed to perform at a good level, but not in a way I wanted. I was very frustrated. I was very angry. I was very, I don't know, not outspoken, but I was very open during the race, and so was my feelings during the race. I definitely think if you're able to kind of have this hang loose attitude, you're going to be more relaxed. You're going to have a better blood flow. You're going to be in a better mental state to actually deliver 110%. And I think that's in a way what I've possibly lost over the last couple of years. And it's been more about, okay, I need to perform, I have to perform, instead of I want to perform.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to kind of change, but yeah.
The following year was a little bit of a mix, because there were some DNFs there in 2017. I don't know if that was also the time you departed with your coach, but nonetheless, third in Frankfurt, and then on debut, eighth in Kona. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you can, if you look at top 10, you are by far the youngest, 26 at this point, eighth. That's that. You have to be satisfied with that, right?
I mean, you just remember, I've just stopped my career, and it's not the easiest decision, so I'm kind of negative about everything at the moment. But I mean, finishing eighth at my debut, I've talked with Patrik Lange, I think, after the race, and obviously he won, but he also asked me, like, okay, before the race, if someone told me here's an 8th place in Kona and your debut, would you take it? 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the position. Then with the fact that, okay, I ran on the putty 8 times, I'm less happy. Especially looking back at it now, where I said, okay, 2017, that's my best result. I finished 8th, that's great, but I also ran on the toilet probably 8 to 10 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, that's a lot.
Because I was actually a little bit, I think you have the 10th fastest run split, and knowing your pedigree, I thought that was a bit slow, but if you're running on the porta potties all the time, that sort of explains it.
The first 21 kilometers, I'm sure, I haven't seen the splits, but I'm sure if you try to dive into them, I'm sure you can see that the first half of the marathon is very slow compared to the second, at least compared to the other athletes. But from what I remember, I didn't have anything to drink the last half an hour, 45 minutes on the bike ride, which is in Kona not great. So I came to transition out on the run. I just remember like taking a big bottle of Coke and just starting to drink. Remember Patrik Nilsson and David McNamee passing me, and yes, come on, Patrik, come on. And then I tried to follow and can just feel during the first step this 1 liter of Coke in my stomach. I said, bloop, bloop. And I'm like, okay, that's not great.
Yeah.
And that's where the problems with the stomach started. And after, I don't know, an hour and a half, it went better.
Yeah.
But that's probably the run you're talking about. So.
Yeah. This might be a little bit silly questions, but is there, besides the things we already talked about, an explanation why you never really got back to Kona to actually finish a race there? Was it just simply too hard with the things you were dealing with?
I definitely think that played in 100%. Yeah. But once again, I've been very. I think 2018 I swam really bad, but then tried to catch the front on the bike, and I think I kept pace with them. But then riding up to Hawaii, my glutes started to cramp, and this is once again the cramping has over the last 15 years been a subject and something to trying to figure out. So it cramped for a minute, then it was fine for a minute, it cramped for a minute, was fine for a minute, riding up to Hawaii. Then coming down from Hawaii, the chase pack caught me, and that's where it really cramped up, where it's kind of, okay, I can't get off the bike properly. And I had to stop. Like, I can't, it's happened before, later as well after the race, but I can't lift my legs. Like, I can't, the glutes in this case was so tight I couldn't get off the bike properly. So that's the first attempt. I think the third attempt in Kona was, I just think I was tired in my head. I trained really hard. I was really good shape. I was very fit from what I remember, but was just tired in the head. Once again, probably too much going on, and kind of being at the start and like, oh shit, it's time to start.
Patrik, I don't hope I'm too personal here, but did you ever contacted a sports psychologist to talk about these issues, or you never really got into that?
I did. Paying overtime to them and like having too many psychologists, but it's. I mean, we tried to work on it, but it's. I mean, it's not easy, and it's. I mean, there was someone I talked to, and like, I mean, top sports, it's not for everyone, and I can definitely see. Okay, my head, it's. I'm able to perform if everything's perfect, if everything's right, if I can only focus on this, and like, I don't know, half autistic kind of thing. Once other things start to come in, it's just hard to. I just can't handle it. And it's, I mean, like the thing with the coach 10 years back, I mean, I still, if I see him, I freak out. I know other athletes of the same coach, like they stop with him and the same thing happens, like they freak out because it's...
anxiety, simply the feeling of you have, what do you call it? Some... yes, anxiety, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, everybody today has some sort of diagnosis. I myself actually have a little bit of ADHD. So were you ever in school tested for something like this to, you know, to figure out if there's a medical condition for some of these things, because that could sort of explain it? Not that we have to diagnose you here live on this podcast, but that could be quite interesting if you know if you had it or people have mentioned it for you before, that could be an issue.
I mean, my wife thinks I'm really special, but apart from that, not in school now.
No.
I don't think it was. It feels more common today that you try to diagnose people or kids in school. I mean, 20 years back, I don't think it was as common. But of course, I mean, I've always been, I don't know, kind of special, so to say. So maybe there's something that.
Yeah. But you also not. Don't want to talk you down here. You'll have to remember that you might have difficulties and things have to be perfect. But I bet that's also the reason why you were able to perform on such a high level, because you have this ability to hyper focus simply. So things are what do you call it? They work together in that way. So things are not only bad.
No. I think it's a great asset, and you can also. I also think that's one of the problems I have today. I can see what's required to be on the top, and I can just look myself in the mirror like I can't do that. It's not it's not possible.
Yeah,
I would like to, but I can't. Like I don't have the time for it.
I think that's also something that happens to you over time, that you are not either able to, not willing to push yourself like you could when you were 23. So I think that's quite normal that you, as you grow older, you're simply not able to go into that dark place. And I even think that was Andreas Rehlert's the last time he was second in Kona. I think it was 2015 or so. He had, performed on a high level many times. The thing is that when you're out of the loop for many years or for a long time, it takes time to learn how to suffer properly again. Actually, can you recognize that as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and like I said, I'm probably able to. I would be able to do the work needed or find all the small details to come back to the top. But like you said, maybe I'm just not. I just don't want to do that to my family. And it's just going to require too much than what I'm able to do. And like you said, it's once you're in, let's say, in a winning loop, or once you're. It has to take the fitness. Once you're up to fitness, it's easy to maintain. But to get up to there, it's really hard. And I think it's a bit the same with racing. Once you're up winning races, it's kind of easy to maintain. I always had the head, okay, it's going up and down all the time. I can't really focus on being on top. But if you're able to, okay, I'm up winning, I'm one of the best, I have the confidence to... I'm confident enough to actually win races. I think it's easy, not easy, but it's easier to maintain. And I also remember I raced Ironman Cozumel the first time I was there, and I was leading the race with 1 lap to go. Was feeling good, and then I said, no. I freaked out. I freaked out because I was going to win, and there was more prize money than in a normal Ironman. And I just stopped, which was kind of stupid. But so I just think once again, I'm not sure if top sport is for everyone, and I'm not sure if it's for me. I'm not sure if I have the head for it or the mentality for it.
That was, I believe that was the time you were chased down by Mickey Weiss, right? In Cozumel?
Yeah, no, I think that was the second. I think Michael Weiss was there the first time as well. I think there was a German who won. But I've been there 3 times. So the second time
really,
I got I think the second time I got a muscle tear in my hamstring during the run. That's when Mikael caught me. And I think the third time I was riding away from Christian Blumenfeld, and then he caught me, and I mean, I'm finishing my career. So there was a motto. Let's say it was pretty hard to catch Christian once he caught me and rode away from me.
Yeah.
I did try, but kept like, I don't know, 450 watts for a couple of minutes, and then my glutes cramped up and I couldn't continue. So that's kind of the history. Like, to put it short, the history of my career, it's either cramping or mental breakdowns.
I think it's very, I can't say nice, but I think it's relieving that you're so honest about it. Is that something that's a bit taboo amongst professional athletes, that you are actually maybe, can you say, afraid of performing, or when the pressure gets too high, you sort of fold under pressure?
If I do, or other athletes as well.
Yeah. If you talk to one another, is that a topic you never talk about? That you tend to crumble under pressure?
I mean, it's, of course, we all want to keep a strong other side.
Keeping up appearances.
Yeah, of course. But then what happens inside, it's different. And the same for me. Like, I've been going to the pool a couple of times, and then just breaking down, crying in the bathroom, and like, no, I'm going home. Of course, that's not something I'm putting up on Instagram, because it's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be gladiators who's winning world championships. But at the same time, it's very relieving to, I don't want to say any names, but one world champion, two actually, it's happened 2 times, coming up to me before races and like, hey Patrik, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm freaking out. One asked for help, then the other one like, I don't know what to do, and then it disappeared. So I think it's, once again, social media, it's not very healthy.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right.
No, of course,
we have
right.
There's another top result I really want to talk to you about. That's in 2018. A quite, you can say, actually, besides this result in Frankfurt, it's not a really good year because you have a lot of DNFs. But if you look at the competition, that second place, I would actually say it's the best performance, because you are head-to-head against Jan Frodeno, and you actually managed to beat Patrik Lange, defending world champion, and also going on to win again. That a few months later. So that must be one to remember, right? Or maybe not.
Again, I'm sorry for being. I mean, once again, if I could choose before the race, if I wanted it second place or not, I would definitely take it.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy. I'm very proud about it. And I think once again, it's a result where I'm like, okay, it was good. I wanted more. I think I could do more. I remember I got the inside of my thigh really started to cramp during the bike ride during the last, 50 kilometers. So I was riding with Patrik and Jan, and they biked away from me. And I had to slow down. Then I got fine. I was able to catch them just before transition. We went out on the run, and my legs started to cramp again, and I went to the potty, to the toilet, to pee, which I wasn't able to do on the bike ride.
Oh, okay.
Because it cramped up. But so it cramped up my thigh again, and I went to the potty, and Jan and Patrik ran away from me. And then I was able to, over 40 kilometers, catch Patrik. But then, of course, I would my dream scenario would have been to, okay, let's start a run with Jan. I would like to run with Jan just one time and beat him head to head.
Yeah.
Which I haven't been able to do.
But who has, if we're honest about one another, very few people, right?
Very few, if anyone has. And
yeah.
I don't think I would be able to do it. But I would still have dreamt about running head to head with Jan until 42 kilometers and then just breaking down and not finishing the race because I was too tired.
But I think you and I actually talked about Jan on a previous podcast, and he, of course, because he had the results, but also because he had the looks. He was that guy that Ironman wanted to, the poster boy, let's be honest here. Yeah. He had this team around him. Yeah. He had people to take care of his kids, to take care of his sponsor deals. I actually went to Kona with the podcast back in 2019, and you just couldn't come near him because he had bodyguards all around him. So, of course, he is going to be on another level because he have, the people, the things that you talked about, you're dealing with. He has other people to take care of that stuff.
100%, and that's top sport. He was able to pull it all together and actually perform as well, which is amazing. And he's, like I said, he has the look. He's looking great. He's tall. He's handsome. He has a pretty wife. He's a great swimmer, biker, runner. He's without being. He's perfect. And being able to pull it off year after year I can understand if people see him as the greatest of all time, and yes, respect to that.
If we look at all the results, you have 6 major Ironman wins, but it's in Frankfurt, which is like the biggest Ironman on the European circuit. You also won Texas, which is the biggest one in US outside Kona, obviously. And then, of course, the 2 big Scandi race. And then, of course, the one in Malaysia. And I can't remember the last one. But it's all super, super important races, and of course you are disappointed that it didn't what you wanted with maybe a win in Kona and stuff like that, but come on, what you managed to do, that's spectacular.
Thanks. And I'm really, trying to be objective, I'm really happy about my career. I would like that one result in Kona to be a bit better. I would like to be able to perform more stable at the top level. But overall, I'm very satisfied. Like, I know there's only one guy who can win the Olympics or World Championships, and I'm totally fine that not being me. Which probably is why I'm satisfied with my career. I would like more, but I think we all want. So, thanks. Because
I took some time to look at it, and I don't know, people maybe who are new to the sports, they kind of forget because now everybody, they go 7:30 every second race, not quite, but you know what I mean. It's like if you take things out of context, and also I forgot to mention that some of your results was made before the super shoe were invented and other aero gains on the bike. So we have to take that into consideration as well.
I don't think I've done one race with a super shoe.
Really?
No. I think I did Ironman Victoria. But then I think I did a 5-hour marathon. So I'm not sure
something
if that
like
counts.
That.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
I have a double question for you, because now that you officially retired, are you still planning to swim, bike, run, but now maybe trying to have fun again, or what do you think?
It's a good question, and that's it's kind of one thing, one day one thing, and the next day the other. Like, I've always enjoyed to have a goal, and like, here's a goal. If it's studies or if it's triathlon, or if it's something else, I like to have a goal. So if you put those glasses on, I can say, okay, why would I swim, bike, and run if I don't have a goal with it? On the other hand, I love to train. I love to have a fit body and like feel good and just say, okay, I'll go out for a run. I'll be back in 2 hours. I mean, that's a great feeling, which I'm going to miss. And at the same time, I'm sure that's going to put a lot of pressure on the family, on the private side of my life as well.
Yeah. And the second part of the question is next chapter. Have you already decided what's? I was maybe thinking something with coaching, but it could be something completely different. Maybe going back to university. I don't know. What's in the pipeline, Patrik?
Not too much, to be honest. I mean, I do have some thoughts. And like I said, I mean, coaching would be fun. I really think would be fun, and I do coach a little bit, which I do enjoy. And I'm just not sure if Ironman is a thing for me, because I'm going to miss it, because that's going to be what I would like to do. I would like to continue, and I'm choosing not to. I talked with the Swedish Federation earlier today, and like I would love to help the Swedish or Danish Federation, for example. But that's on the federation. That's not Ironman. I think it's possibly going to be different. I could help short course or ITU, for example, instead of going Ironman distance and long distance and going to Hawaii again, because I don't think I'm never going to watch Ironman Hawaii again, because I'm going to be crying, to be honest. Like, I'm going to miss it too much.
Oh, really? But did you actually know that the president of our federation, Rasmus Henning, is part Swedish, and now you've been living here so long, so you're part Danish. So that could be quite fun, right?
Yeah, definitely.
To have a little bit of.
No, that would be great, and
yeah.
I mean, I still like this. I love the sport. So I don't see that chapter as closed yet. Then exactly what my role is going to be, I'm not sure. But maybe starting a podcast.
Yeah. But you. I think there's actually there is a Swedish podcast called I can't pronounce it, but Triathlon Vännerna.
Yeah, it's true.
So maybe you can have a. I don't know what you say in Swedish, but the triathlon enemies.
Yeah, exactly.
you have I don't know, but I don't know. Now we are freestyling a little bit here, but I tried to find something that I thought were highlights. Obviously, there are more things. You had a 5th place at the World Championship in Sweden in the Motorline 2015. Are there other things, maybe also besides just results, people you met, things you experienced that you look back on now?
I mean, obviously, training in Texas has been great. And I think the family back there, they played a huge role to actually have my head in the right place before the race. I remember like playing, I don't know, baseball kind of thing with the family the evening before race, where otherwise I would just lay in my bed freaking out. So I really think that kind of put the pressure down and like having a good time instead of just being 100% focused on the race. And of course, then, I mean, train with Patrik Lange, who ended up being a world champion.
Yeah.
I think we trained together in 2017 in Texas, and that's also the year he won the first time.
Stein as well, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so that was a great time.
That's 3 sort of shy young men who not talk too much. So that suits you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Boris was really fun. Patrik as well, and having an easy time instead of being too outspoken or too, I don't know. No, it was good, definitely. A really very relaxed, more of a good time than proper training camp.
Yeah, I actually kind of regret that I didn't begin this interview asking about your upbringing in Sweden, and you said that you were a little bit of a weird kid. So is there anything, I don't know, from your school, maybe here in Denmark we have sports days where, kids all over Denmark, they compete in athletics, for instance. Were there any points as a kid that you knew or people told you that you had a special talent for sport?
I don't think so, no.
No? Okay. No?
No. I think I was pretty decent, like playing football, doing skiing, tennis or whatever. Obviously
But
could run, like
you
playing
are from
football
Stockholm,
around.
right? Or where did you grow up?
Yeah, Stockholm, yeah.
Stockholm, okay.
I think I was decent at running, and that's kind of where it started to
Yeah.
playing soccer. Seeing, okay, I'm terrible with the ball, but I'm able to run. Picking up running, I'm not going to say like a bullet kid picking up running to escape from reality, but I think that's kind of how it was in my head, at least. And that's why and how I started to run.
So were you one of these kids who didn't like too many people around you, or so being around big crowds, for instance?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think a podcast and a second podcast is starting to form in my head to talk about this. I think it's super interesting, actually. How a guy like you developed your talent, and how you got into it, and also the entire discussion we have now about kids using their iPads and too much screen time. What kind of environments we want for our kids. When you talk about this, that's some of the things that pops up in my head, at least.
I imagine. I mean, I definitely don't think social media has helped me in my career. And I can definitely see teenagers today. I mean, you're never going to be able to see the reality. You're always going to be compared to AI pictures, for example.
Yeah.
It isn't true. Or you're seeing a real human, a real picture, but it's going to be photoshopped. So it's and I think I've been affected of that as well in a very small role, but I think it's going to be let's say we're standing for a scary future with social media, I think.
And I'm quite sure that more people than we realize have or will recognize some of the things that you mentioned here. We are not yet aware of the impact that this have. I think I heard a podcast saying that the approach that we have now towards smoking indoor in cars, like we did back in the 70s, that's in 30 years, that's the way we're going to look back at all the screens that we have around us, that we're going to know how unhealthy it is.
I mean, probably, yeah. Maybe we see there are studies showing that people are more lonely today. They are more young people, the young grown-ups are depressed. I mean, they are suicidal. I don't think there's a lot of people today being not affected by social media in a negative way.
The last question that I'm going to ask you in this episode, at least, now you've been living in Denmark for 8 or 10 years, maybe?
10, I think, yeah.
10 years.
Nine,
so can you feel a big difference between the Stockholm environment that you grew up in and a typical Danish approach to things? Is there what's some of the biggest differences, if there is any?
I mean, of course, I grew up in a very fortunate family, and like having very good parents and a good good environment. And that's kind of what we're trying to bring what we're having today as well.
Yeah.
I think the Danish to Swedish culture is very similar, which also made the move pretty easy. I grew up in Stockholm. Now I'm living out a bit on the countryside, which probably is the biggest difference I'm going to see compared to Denmark and Sweden. But
yeah.
I think
thought you were going to mention. I thought you were going to mention politically correctness. That's always. Have you not heard that when people talk about Sweden? That's like the golden standard of political correctness.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Is that true or not?
I mean, perhaps next to Switzerland, if that would be the case. But I mean, we don't want to make anyone angry, so that would make sense.
Oh, that's perfect. Is there any special thanks to anybody that you want to mention here before we close down for this episode?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of people. So I think in many, let's say, speeches before, I think say thank you to my wife and wife and friends and sponsors and partners and fans. So no one's really forgotten. No, I mean, it's been a great time, and I'm going to miss triathlon and the community and everything in it. And I hope to be back spectating and actually enjoying it instead of being too anxious about it.
Will you completely rule out coming back in 2 years as a top age grouper? Because the top age groupers nowadays, they are basically pro. So will that not be satisfying for you when you have been on a professional level to compete in age group racing?
I don't think so.
No.
Very short. Like, no, it's not going to happen.
At least you're honest about it. Then,
no, it's not going to. Like, that's also why I'm kind of half ruling out. Like, I went out for a run here, like, for 20 minutes. Like, what's the purpose? Like, why would I run? Like, it's not fun. It's hurting. I don't have a goal with it. I ran for 20 minutes. I'm not trying to do smaller triathlons or taking out the TT bike or the wetsuit. But I could definitely also see that, okay, I'm not going to swim, bike and run for the next 50 years. Because I know how good it could feel. And I have some good like swimmer friends who swam before at a very high level. And they say like, no way I'm going back to the pool. No way. Because it's feeling horrible. It's slow. Yeah. It's hurting. I'm getting tired. I know how good it could feel. I don't have that experience anymore.
Of course.
So maybe just, I don't know, picking up CrossFit or paddle or, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. So what about a typical thing? I think it's a very typical question for people who retire from the sport. An all-out marathon next spring, for instance. Could that be a challenge that could tempt you?
In a way, yeah. It would be very fun to see, like, okay, doing a training period of 2 years to like, okay, let's try to be really quick. But I think being really quick would be like 2:20, maybe pushing it to like 2:15, which I think 2:20 would be possible, like with a year or two of good marathon training. But I tried to win Kona, and now doing a 2:20 marathon, I'm not sure if that would be satisfying enough to. I'm not going to be making a money of it. Like, so once
but
again.
But I think if 2:15 is possible, then you're very close to the medals on a national level, at least here in Denmark. I don't know what the scene is like in Sweden, but
it's a bit higher in Sweden, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why you're so fast there. Oh yeah, I think that's one of the greatest.
I don't know.
Patrik,
it would be fun.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk, and let's keep in touch. And if we have an exciting topic or you have an idea, then we can make another episode.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. And say hello to your family, wife, and parents included.
You bet. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks. See you.
Ciao.